disagree with about body positivity, and it's the Lizzo movement.
Yeah.
Have you heard
You're
of that?
with that.
Huh?
You don't agree with the body positivity, like I'm fat and proud kind of.
Yeah, I don't, because you're basically like, no, like it's okay to be fat and proud, but I'm here to say that it's not healthy.
Yeah. And I
You can
think
be confident, fat, proud, happy in your body, whatever. Just don't promote that as it's good for you.
yeah.
And that's what, like, it may be good for you temporarily, but being obese is not healthy.
Yeah. It isn't, and I think that so whenever there is a societal oppression,
Mhm.
any sort. So as a formerly fat person, I can tell you that the world is not
Yeah,
nice to people. The world is not designed for us. It was difficult. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of shaming, a lot of assumptions that I'm lazy or this or that, and nothing could be further from the truth. I never ate fast food. There's a lot of assumptions about that. Um,
really.
yeah, yeah. I was always health conscious. I just ate too much carbohydrates, I guess in the end. That's the thing. But that was
And
also
did you
a
work out?
um off and on. I was an active person. Like I said, moving at the speed of light all the time, but I could never stick with a gym routine. Um,
Mm,
but at the end of the day, the world is not kind to fat people. And what happens is there's a reaction to that. So fat people
mhm,
have to exist in the world and we deserve, and I say we just because I still claim that as a person who's going to have to manage her weight the rest of her life. We still have to
mhm,
exist in the world and we have a right to exist and we have a right to people being kind to us. And so there's this reaction
mhm,
to the oppression and the hatefulness.
mhm.
And the pendulum swings maybe too far in the other direction. Like
Yeah,
right now we are compensating all of a sudden, because we had the civil rights movement. We have this awareness about people with different abilities and disabilities where we are not going to say certain words that are unkind. We're changing our language. But really fatness is like the last zone where it's okay, because even the super left, um you know politically correct police would make fun of people for being fat. They would still use
mm,
that as a weapon. So now there's this overreaction like, no, 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 you must be kind to fat people. We are fat, we are here, we are proud, and it's okay.
yeah, it's always extremes.
It's extremes. And so is it healthy? No. Does everyone know that? Yes. And that's where I think that my podcast was really an important exercise because
Mhm,
I was determined to remain body positive, to not, because growing up as a girl in the United States, like when I was growing up in the 80s, and then when I was a teenager in the 90s, being skinny, when I say thin, like what you would think of now as someone who is unhealthy skinny, like when you see a woman who's teeny tiny, looks like maybe she's never eaten a cupcake in
like
her life.
anorexic.
Yeah, that was this beauty standard. So we
Mm,
were always chasing this impossible standard. There was no representation of any kind of curves or anything, and that is changing. But we were forced this diet culture, this
like the
eat
societal
less.
views of it. Yeah,
Yeah. And so, how do I set myself free of diet culture and beauty standards while realizing that to love myself is to take care of my body
mhm.
while loving my body as it is changing? Because right now, I'm still going to lose more weight.
It's the
I had lost,
gray.
I
It's
had
the
lost
gray,
100
yeah.
pounds and was still technically obese. I had lost 100 pounds
Mm,
and was still obese. So I still had to love my body and be proud of it, even when I still had another 100 pounds to lose. And so I think
yeah,
that's where body positivity is so important. It's that a fat person cannot wake up and decide to not be fat today. They have to live. My daughter said this beautifully on the podcast because she lives in a larger body. And she said, I have to wake up in this body tomorrow. And next week, I'm still going to be fat. And next month, I'm still going to be fat, no matter what I decide to do today. So I deserve to be proud of myself and happy and feel beautiful, whether I'm fat or skinny. And so That was all an important reconciliation for me because I very much believe in that, and also I very much believe in taking care of myself, and I wanna live longer, and I wanted to face the reality of what I was doing to my body by being and maintaining that size. And that was a difficult thing to do, and it's a difficult conversation to have because as women, we've been subjected, particularly women, but men also, have been subjected to this conversation where thin is the only thing that's acceptable. And so how do I don't wanna participate in that. I don't wanna make like, I don't want anyone who's overweight hearing this feeling shamed because absolutely, like, setting
Oh,
myself
yeah, yeah.
that is so
I don't
critical.
want anybody to feel shamed.
So so that's the
My I just think it's not healthy to be fat, but you can be
well, that's not an opinion, that's a fact. That's a
Yeah.
fact. I mean, it is. It is the fact. And I think
Yeah.
it's very hard to accept, because also what you eat, what you crave, how much you eat, how much you think you need to eat, that stuff forms at a very early age and interplays with your genetics. So I come from a long line of addicted people. And when I was a little girl, I wasn't getting what I needed from the adults in my life. I wasn't allowed to express my feelings, and food was the thing I had access to. So cake, cookies, ice cream, little Debbie snacks, whatever, regulated my nervous system. That was survival.
Yeah.
And I didn't get fat, so to speak, until I became an adult, but I felt like a fat
Mm.
person. I ate like a fat person. I turned to food, and that was as a child. I was innocent. I was
It's
doing
like you,
this.
like, manifested it.
Yes,
You,
and
like,
then
manifested your fatness.
yes, oh, definitely. I called that into being for sure. And then what happens is you turn to food at this young age because of all of these factors, and it interplays with your genetics. And then that's what your body sets out to do. It says, oh, okay, this is what we do to cope. And so then your whole personality and
Mm.
coping structure gets formed around this. This is why addiction is such a problem in society right now. I mean, 1 in 10 people over the age of 14 in America is addicted to something actively right now. That means we
I'm
all
addicted to coffee.
yeah, well, if you count coffee, way more of us, but, right now, it's and young people are turning to things more like we're not okay with just being with ourselves, and our genetics are
Yeah.
powerful at play with these active addictions, but food is no different, and it starts at a very young age, and then your whole system is just set up this way, and
I
it's very
think it's
to fight it.
I think it's the whole fat movement and body positivity movement. I think it's just when you get into politics, it's like it's always the extremes. That's why I don't like the question you brought up, like, can we just talk without arguing and like can we have a conversation without getting triggered? And it's like whenever you bring up politics, like this whole Lizzo body positivity, fat and proud movement, it's like there's no gray. It's like, can we just like to me, this whole movement is gray. Like, yes, you need to be confident, you need to practice self-love, but then you also need to be real and know that that's not healthy to be fat. It's not healthy to be fat, but it's like you're getting the mindset right. The mindset is right. You need to be confident in who you are, you need to be happy in your body, but then you also need to realize it's not healthy and you need to lose weight. Like,
Yeah,
unless you want to
the fact.
uh, get older and start getting these creaks at an early age and pains and disease earlier, then it's not okay to be fat, but it is okay to be happy in your body.
And I'm so grateful to the people that are living in fat bodies and are promoting it because what it's causing is an awareness, right? That's how it happens. So
Mm,
because someone like Lizzo came along and said, "Look how sexy I am in
yeah.
this body," women of all sizes were able to look at themselves in a different way and
Yeah.
start to feel that self-love piece. So the idea, yes, like weight management is a health issue that's very personal. We all have to take care of our health if we want to do certain things. Like, I couldn't ride roller coasters anymore. I could not fit on them.
Really.
And I love roller coasters, and I felt like that's just one of the many, many things that I couldn't do because of my size. And I can't look myself in the mirror and say, "I love myself," if I'm allowing what is essentially a maladaptive coping mechanism to take over my life in such a way that it limits it from the things that I love. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, fat and proud is really important so that there's visibility, representation, compassion. People like I have so much compassion for the 337-pound me. I love her. I thank her all the time. I still keep her pictures up. I don't delete.
Really?
I'm proud of her because she's the one who started me on this. I couldn't be where I'm at. She did everything. She got her doctorate. She raised 4 beautiful kids. She did all this
Mm,
amazing stuff while over 300 pounds and carrying the weight of, like, if you think of like 5 or 6 40-pound bags of dog food extra I was carrying around. Think about a 40-pound bag of dog food, how heavy that is.
that's
I was
like or it's like 2.5 of me,
Yeah, there you
'cause
go.
I'm I'm 150, 160. I range between 150, 160, but I
Yes.
never,
I was
I can't
carrying you around
yeah,
on my back and still kicking ass at life. So I'm pretty proud. I mean, imagine carrying a 200-pound person on your back, sleeping with like all the time, and try and turn over in bed in the middle of the night. Try to get up out of bed and have dreams for yourself. Go like do a lot. Go do things. Be successful, be admirable, be bright and beautiful and happy. It's hard. Life is hard to begin with, but so I have a lot of compassion and pride in the larger
yeah,
me. I prefer to live the way that I am now in a smaller body. I feel healthier. I am not limited, you know. I'm not subject to fat phobia when I walk around anymore. I don't
fat
get
phobia.
Yeah, no,
What
people
is
are so
that?
fat phobic. I mean, like I just recently I was at the theater and a man, it's a long story that doesn't need to be told right now, but the bottom line is that there wasn't even an altercation between us. Gave him a friendly bit of directional information, and he grabbed my arm and turned me. And this was shocking
Hmm?
to me.
When was
I
this?
This was just a few weeks ago. And
Oh,
what I
okay.
know is that when I was 337 pounds, nobody was touching me like that. People didn't come into my space.
Oh,
People stay as far away from fat people as they can. And so for me, this was a shocking, revelatory experience. I'm like, oh my God, this is what smaller women experience because we're also in a deeply
mm,
misogynistic, culture that we're trying to work our way out of, where men feel entitled to just touch I mean, he's an older man. I mean, this is probably not
oh,
for people of your generation, but he felt like it
yeah,
was
I
okay
would never do
to touch
that.
my arm and turn my body, and I just couldn't even believe it. Like, I was like, but so there was a lot of me that wanted to stay larger because I felt safe that way, and I was safer in a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Me and my daughter joke, like, "If you're trying to kidnap me, all I gotta do is drop dead weight and you're not getting anywhere." My daughter's like on the podcast in her episode, she's like, "Yeah, it's a two-man job, definitely." Like, there is a safety in being larger, there's a protection. So, there's a lot wrapped up in it. It's not so simple as eat less, move more,
Yeah.